Cadman.
All right. I'm almost on time. Still getting everything together here. I want to talk about the two fights that went down tonight. Now, I usually tune in to Combo Breaker 99, but I don't think he did coverage on this card tonight. And I also like to get other people's take on the fight before I weigh in on it. So without my usual routine, I went to UFC's profile and checked out a few comments that was left sort of in response to this fight. What an amazing performance. This person says this was the fight of the night. I think they meant to spell that once. So it's the fight of the night. Both were very entertaining to watch. She's an amazing fighter. Somebody asked for Silva versus Barber. Now remember, Natalia Silva defeated the number 6 ranked fighter, so she's up there. I would expect Silva to now be ranked at number 6, maybe even higher. We'll take a look at the rankings a little later. Somebody said, future champ, guys. I'm telling you, Natalia is the real deal. I've been saying this. So far, that has 47 likes, which is more than what we've seen so far. So a lot of people are feeling this statement. A lot of people are feeling this statement that she's a future champion. We'll see about that. I have serious doubts after tonight's card. I'll be honest with you. I feel like this performance showed some holes in her game that we'll get to. But other than that, she looked the same. She's always dazzling and fast and got pop. But I think the old veteran sort of exposed something that maybe other fighters can take advantage of. So you all get the point. She's getting a lot of compliments. as she should. And I'm glad that she won. I think it would have been bad. It would have been a step back for the division and all that had she went in here and gotten clobbered. Now, first of all, I didn't expect her to be that much bigger than Jessica Andrade, but apparently she was. She's quite bigger than Andrade. At 125, Andrade is kind of pudgy. So, just from a physical standpoint, Silva seemed like the bigger, most definitely the bigger fighter. Right? Salute to Lolita, Bipolar, Todd Johnson, and Gap up in the building. Yeah, what y'all think about that performance? Now, I'm always critical. Fighters deserve their time of praise and celebration, especially after a fight like this where she was co-main event. Bipolar said Andrade got robbed. That's interesting. Thought Andrade got robbed. I thought Silva won the fight. I definitely thought she won the fight. But I thought she kind of looked bad doing it. One thing with Jessica Andrade, you cannot run from her all night. You should not. And I feel like Silva was making the fight like 3 or 4 more times more difficult than what it should have been. And I know I said that before after Silva's fights, but that's what I believe. Now, I've said about Andrade several times, people. What have I always said about Jessica Andrade? When you fight Jessica, what have I always said? You cannot run from her all night. You have to back her up. Andrade cannot fight going backwards. Just flat out, she can't. The crazy thing is that Silva kind of can't fight going forwards. Silva don't like to be the one putting the pressure on her opponents. She'd rather run away from you. I started to get the feeling that in order for her to even fight Andrade, she had to be moving away from her. And if she was forced to go after her, if she was forced to go after Andrade, she seemed like a fish out of water. When she stunned Andrade, I don't know if something happened to her eye. Maybe she took a knuckle to the eye. It was like Silva really didn't know how to pour it on. And she didn't. She seemed almost lost. I know I'm not the only one who saw Silva don't like putting pressure on her fighters, on her opponents. She don't like to be the one going forward, keeping her opponents on the defensive. If you got better speed than Andrade, you can back her up. There's no reason you should be running all night. Not only that, remember how flush Yan Xiaonan was catching Andrade? You didn't see no flush shots really like that from Silva. Silva don't have the right hand. I believe she's naturally an orthodox fighter. I know she switched up here, but she's naturally an orthodox fighter. But she don't really have the power punch that even a Yan Xiaonan has, if you ask me. She don't even have Yan's straight power hand, and Yan's straight power hand is really not all that. I kind of question Silva's hands, and she needs to, in my opinion, She seems like she's an autopilot and she can't stop doing certain things. I believe she needs to tone down on all that those spin attacks. But what it looks like, it seems like she goes in there and she fights. There's certain things that she just has to do, no matter who she's against. She has to move away a lot. She seems like a very set, passive fighter. And she has to be moving away. She seems more comfortable when she's moving away and then having to stop. More comfortable fighting defensively. And uncomfortable being offensive, putting the pressure on her opponents. Go back and watch this fight again. She seems almost like she got OCD in that regard. Now, I started to think and get the feeling that it was primarily the result of Andrade being, kind of over the hill. She was kind of over the hill, and if this was more of a prime Andrade, she would have gotten better results. Why was Silva moving into Jessica's left hook all night like that? Why was she doing that? Even though she was moving away, it felt like Silva was moving too much. She was quite often in the danger zone, right into Jessica's left hook. That's all Jessica throw. You saw Andrade try to throw a straight punch, and it looked all funny, but I think one of them landed. She was moving straight into that left hook. That was just making me uncomfortable all night. I don't know about nobody else. I'm like, Silva, what you doing? What you doing, girl? I felt uncomfortable with those spin attacks. I'm like, look, man, you don't need that. With Andrade, the best approach is just to box her. Just to box her. You saw that's what Jan did. She focused on her back. Now, you can kick Andrade in the legs, too. But spin attacks, luckily, it didn't backfire on her. But Silva, in my opinion, has to master the art of putting pressure on her opponents. There are some fighters you're going to have to back up. That's just what it is. Some of them you got to back them up. You can't be primarily dependent on a passive style, moving away. Because this was the wrong opponent to do that with. I believe that's why Jessica looked as good as she looked. I believe that's why she was able to go 3 rounds. And in many parts of the fight, Andrade looked almost dangerous, even though she wasn't doing much. You notice that? Andrade her output was not impressive at all. What kept Andrade in this fight and made the fight look entertaining was that Silva couldn't back Andrade up. Andrade is at her very best when she can go forward all night. And the faster Andrade starts moving forward, the better she is. The more comfortable she is. She was in Andrade's danger zone. Andrade was comfortable, but because Silva's so skilled and fast and strong, she was able to pull it off. Luckily for her. So that's my only criticism of Silva. She has to learn how to put pressure on her opponents more, because all that moving away tonight was not necessary. She was bigger and so much better in every department. She could have walked Andrade down all night, in my opinion. Andrade did not want that smoke. That speed was too much. Andrade did not want to go forward like that all night. She was going forward because wasn't much coming back. Andrade wasn't really dealing with really dangerous output. Now the kicks, and some of those kicks, man, I don't know. Silva seems programmed. There's a way she has to fight no matter who she fights And that is a red flag, in my opinion. In my opinion, you got to have more versatility to your fight style. You got to be able to fight this way, that way, when you have to, depending on the opponent you're faced with. So we'll see if that backfires. I think Silva lacks versatility as far as the style she uses to fight in. Think about it. A lot of people feel like she should have stopped Andrade. Think of the fighters that Andrade have been stopped by, right? Think of some of the fighters. Let's take a look at Andrade's record. I personally believe that, now I know I've said this before with Silva. She made this fight more difficult than what it should have been. I have to say it again. I have to say it again. That seems like a pattern in Natalia Silva fights, where she fights in a style that suits her opponents, that makes her opponents feel a lot more comfortable. And I think that boils down to Natalia Silva's own poor corner. Her own poor corner. Now, Andrade has been having it rough lately, people. Okay? Got submitted by Suarez. Now, she's actually won her most recent 2 fights. So give it up to Andrade. I thought she was even doing worse than that. But you remember, she knocked out Mackenzie Dern, Rodriguez. She had been subbed by Suarez, knocked out by Zhao Nan, subbed by Erin Blanchfield. And remember, Erin was putting it on her. You know Erin fights when she's striking with you, she's coming forward. And that's why Andrade has such a hard time with Erin Blanchfield. You really didn't see Andrade looking that comfortable. As comfortable as she was looking in here against Silva in many spots, which I just don't think she should have. Silva should have spent 90% of his fight, and if you ask me, going forward. But she hasn't really mastered. She's mastered how to move, stop, throw a punch. Move, throw a kick, and keep moving. Strike, keep moving. Strike. It seemed like her training sessions is primarily focused on that. Move, strike, keep moving. They're honing in on mastering one style, and that's this passive style. You got to master the offensive pressure style as well. Why not? When you got a machine like Natalia Silva. Work on her power hand. That's straight. She need more mustard. She need to put more into that and commit more to her power hand, if you ask me, Natalia Silva. Her power hand should be right on par with Yan Xiaonan's at least. And I did not see Yan's straight power hand in here tonight. Okay, of course, she got stopped by Shevchenko. Andrade has not really been doing all that bad, but I personally believe Silva she made the fight a lot more difficult than it should have been. But as always, Silva got incredible speed, incredible movement, incredible speed, incredible movement, incredible kicks. Her kicks are like Superwoman kicks. And she got hit by a Superwoman punch. You see, and did you see what Silva was doing in those moments in the 3rd round, especially where she'd be up against the cage and she would just turtle up? Just think of a more energized Andrade faced with an opponent like that who it seemed like Silva was making herself tired with all that moving around. She was looking like, if you're a fan of Silva, that should have made you nervous in those spots, in those moments where she looked like she's just barely standing up. You saw her, especially in the 3rd round, she kept looking up at the clock. I don't like that either. Kept looking up at the clock, which suggested to me she's tired and she's ready for the round to end. So I saw some red flags. I don't know about anybody else. And I hope she polishes that up. Learn your opponent, learn their weaknesses. I think this is something everybody should know about Andrade. The girl cannot fight going backwards. She can't. When she's going backwards, nothing comes from Andrade. Go look at her fights. Not a punch, not a kick, nothing. All she do is eat strikes when she goes back. 100% of Andrade's offense is when she's walking forward. She has to walk forward, lean in with those hooks, dive in at you, swing, windmill. She has to be coming forward. Fighters, the trainers and coaches, y'all got to do a better job, if you ask me. I just don't think at this level we should be seeing stuff like that. We should at least see the proper game plan, even if your fighter don't have the mechanics to execute it. You got to be able to at least say, okay, they've done their homework on Andrade and they're trying to implement it. But I didn't see that. So I want to see a better straight right hand from Natalia Silva. And I want to see her commit more to those straight right hands as well. Tonight's the night when she needed it. She needed to bury that straight right hand because Andrade is constantly open for it. But as it was, she opened her up and got the victory. Is there anybody else who thought Andrade won the fight? And Bipolar, are you serious? I don't know if he's trolling or what. Did anybody see what I saw? Let's check the chat room. Todd says he believes she put on a phenomenal performance against Andrade. Impressive. All right. Most people are impressed, but I always felt like she was a lot better than Andrade, like going into his fight. And it seemed like, I don't know, it just seemed like Andrade was just kind of on the downfall. She's starting to dwindle away. Gap said it's just Natalia was placed as a co-main, so a lot more people got to see her and were exposed to her for the first time. Right. And I love watching Natalia work. But I was kind of frustrated tonight. I just didn't think she needed to do all that. Don't be moving. Andrade was scared. Y'all see her? Before the fight even started, Andrade looked worried. She forgot to do her signature where she get down on the ground. Jessica Andrade. Seemed like that slipped her mind. But she fought well. It was the usual Andrade. But man, she was making Andrade so comfortable. There was way too much moving. I'm going to stand on that forever. Way too much movement from Natalia Silva in this fight. She got a chin. She was eating a lot of shots and probably more than she needed to. I thought the same. Right? So, good. But fair play to both of them. No disrespect to anybody. I enjoyed the fight. Also, the other fight, Jacqueline Amorim looked great. She looked phenomenal too, I thought, Jacqueline Amorim. And of course, y'all know I was happy because I love to root against Vanessa Demopoulos. But man, when Amorim is on the ground, there's never a dull moment. And there's not many fighters you can say that about. On the ground, Jacqueline Amorim is constantly doing something. Constantly advancing her position. Constantly going for submissions. She'll abandon one, go straight to another. She is one of the, few fighters who are touted as a ground fighter. What is her, jiu-jitsu? But who are real sick. She looks better than Mackenzie Dern, if you ask me, on the ground. And she's more likely to stop you more likely to stop you, Jacqueline Amorim? These were both strawweight, wasn't it? Okay. I wonder, does she have a Wikipedia? I want to see her record. Now remember, she does have a high stoppage ratio, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, does she got a Wikipedia? No, nope, I don't think so. We'll do Sherdog. I cannot stand typology. And UFC, ESPN, y'all's stream is garbage. I know free streams with much better quality. Your stream is garbage and y'all need to fix it. I hate using your app. ESPN, and I'm telling people, don't use, if you can find some other way to watch these fights, use that other way. ESPN, fix your garbage stream, please. I am an unsatisfied, long-time customer. Fix it. Now, this is what I like to see. Sadly, she took that loss to Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes is such a thorn in these girls' butts. She is such a thorn in their butts. In the UFC, I think they like Sam because of it. And Sam ain't going nowhere. You want to come in thinking you big and bad, they're going to feed you to Sam Hughes. But look at the fighters that she stops. This woman has one of the highest stoppage ratios in the game. She's never won by decision. Just like Karine Silva used to be. Never. Jacqueline Amorim never won by decision. All stoppages. This is the type of fighter to get behind. Y'all better follow this lady. I was about to call her young, but she's 29. And that's, the age when they prime. Y'all better watch out for this girl. I'm telling you now. Her striking looks like it's getting better. Her striking looks like it's getting better, man. A while ago, I was critical of her striking. And I'm just saying, I've noticed improvements. In the other fighters in the division, I hope y'all noticed as well. Y'all better be taking notes. Vanessa Demopoulos, from what I remember, I thought she was fairly respected on the ground. I remember her as being a respected ground fighter. She's won several fights by submission, hasn't she? Let's go back here. Vanessa, because her striking is definitely not popping. Yeah, a lot of split decisions. Boy, look, this is the split decision queen right here. What's going on, Demopoulos? Oh, I cannot stand this girl. I'm always rooting against her. Yeah, so submission here. Technical submission. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's not the ground fighter I thought she was. But I thought she was one of those fighters. But boy, she was nothing in this fight. Vanessa, you got ran through. She just used you for a highlight reel. This wasn't even a fight, Vanessa. Vanessa, this whole so-called fight, it was just a long highlight reel. You didn't do nothing at all. She threw a few punches at you, took you down, and squirmed all over you until she submitted you. Now, something was going on with Vanessa's foot. Something was going on with her foot. Didn't she say something about, oh, she's about to break my foot? Look, Vanessa, this is MMA. Sometimes you're in awkward positions like that, and you might, break something. Something might pop. You might get caught in a funny position. Things happen. But I don't know about the glove. Wasn't she saying that Jacqueline was cheating? Pulling her glove or something like that? Listen, have a rematch. I'm taking Amorim again. I mean, that was just too one-sided for me, Vanessa. And I'm pointing this out because I know, she's got fans. There were some people rooting for Vanessa Demopoulos. But no, this was round one. And look at how many of her victories was in the first round, Jacqueline Amorim. That's a pretty sick record. That is a pretty sick record. Watch out for that girl right there. And I thought overall this was a pretty good night for WMMA. I am going to go back and watch some of these other fights. As I said, make sure y'all follow WMMA rankings. When they're active, they really bring to you all the fights that's going on, or at least the majority of them, no matter what organization. Same with Combo Breaker 99. Like I said, he's like the leader of this WMMA thing. It covers a lot of fights in a lot of different organizations. But poor Elise Anderson got stopped again. Poor girl. And I think she's still young. We'll see how the rest of her career unfolds. I keep up with Elise. And of course, I'm always watching one. So, yeah, too bad for her right there. But I have to go back and watch some of these fights. How'd they go? I think Samiko, did she win? I thought these fights went down already, didn't they? I work too much. Okay, yeah. Yeah, she won. And good. It should be free on YouTube, right? Bellator cards. Okay, so it hasn't. Okay, it hasn't gone down. What is this? Well, good. It goes down tonight. Excellent. Excellent. So we are in there like swimwear. So what's this? I thought Elise already lost, man. Was it? I must have saw a highlight reel from her most recent loss. Okay, I gotta figure out. Okay, she did lose last night. Yeah, that's what I thought. Got stopped by Victoria Souza. Okay, so what in the world happened with... Okay, I'll figure it out. Hopefully. Because if I'm confused now, I'll probably stay confused. I wanted to watch all those fights. Think Vanessa low level now? Yeah. She's inactive. She don't seem to be fighting that often. It's too bad. UFC is a big blame for that. Think Dern is overrated. Andrade is not in the game anymore. She has not evolved and will not evolve. Now she's fighting for a check. Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. And it's sad. A lot of these fighters who've been fighting for a real long time still got to do stuff like OnlyFans to make ends meet. They shouldn't. If this the top UFC, or excuse me, MMA organization, you've been a fighter for years and you still need to do stuff on the side, that right there tells you UFC is garbage as far as pay is concerned. Shout out to these fighters. They're risking their life every time they step in there. Any one of these strikes could take their life. And I'm going to land my plane there. Shout out to Marcus Bell up in the building. Okay, face the 3. Yeah, I got to get caught up on my WMMA. Y'all forgive me. I've been working a whole lot, but I will get caught up. Probably come back on here and chop it up sometime this weekend, or at least before Monday. And I'll see y'all on the next live stream.